haven't seen very many TP responses. We haven't seen very many junglers pathing down to cover, and that's going to be something that KNG really needs to do if they want to stay in this game.
But they certainly do, Max. Let's jump ourselves into the Rift then for the very first game of the very first series. Week 5, can you believe it already? So many weeks of competition already have gone on by, and both these teams are still hoping that playoffs are within their reach, potentially with some level 1 plays to start it all off.
Yeah, keep an eye on the Rakan W cooldown here. That's the important one. There is no extra CC to follow up once that lands, so Rhea Fury might be able to get clipped by it and may have to flash here. The Rakan W is up, but with the way he's moving, he's making it so hard for Rakan to throw that spell.
He's making it very, very difficult right now. It's not too easy for the rest of his teammates then to try and follow up on that Rakan based on their positioning without revealing exactly where they are. The entirety, to be fair, of KNG are just fanning across top to bot to make sure that there's no way for Mammoth to make a play. So in terms of early game and really breaking it open from the level 1 mark, not going to be the case here today.
Yeah, importantly, that Ward will be able to spot Goodo starting the Raptor camp here, so KNG will have knowledge of his path, you know, getting towards this bot lane early on. As you can already see some level 1 trading taking place. This is the danger as Asta's going in.
It certainly is going in right now, but Kurok's copying us so much amount of damage. Actually forced the flash away. That's how concerned he was, but Relay has slowed down Duck. He's got him within his reach right now. There's no heal. He's already burnt flash. Another heal is not there. And the auto attack, flash to connect. There's first blood. This is best case for KNG.
This is absolute best case scenario for KNG there. You can see that because of those level 1 shenanigans, they're able to actually set up in the bush, get that lane control, and that all importantly allows them to get some poke down before Mammoth can fight, right? The way that they're going to lose this lane is by getting jumped on full HP, someone gets ignited and someone gets 100-0, but instead they're able to flip the script in their own favor, give Rilla first blood, and take away both of Duck summoners at level 1.
Which really hurts, right? Isaiah Rakan wanted to be stable, but ripping open that into a volatile laning phase.
Right, I think that's going to be the main thing that Goodo is looking towards. You can already see he will be completing the Gromp here and tick over to level 3. We'll see whether he wants to get active, but bot lane is crashing a wave at the moment, so probably just going to continue clearing his jungle. As we check in with mid lane here, Darjong having a pretty nice go of things, definitely trading well as he crashes his third wave here.
Yeah, both mid laners running low on resources, both health and mana, as he's actually going to crash in. You can see the stain taking place with the Mammoth bot lane having now returned to see what they can do. They're going to be zoned away, right, from these ticking time bombs, from the harass, from the ability for Rilla to say, well, the pressure's on you now. I've already got the great start that I need. And I'm curious, actually, what kind of build Rilla decides to go for. We saw Violet play the Ashe, went 12-1 with the Lethal Temper into Trinity Force Kraken Slayer. We've certainly seen different takes on what the go-to for Ashe would be it lethality, on hit, or crit. I'm curious to see what their brand will be here for Rilla's Nectar. Also, he can leech up, but he's getting a bit of a taste of what an Aatrox can do.
Yeah, Aatrox into Zac, definitely a nice matchup for the Aatrox, right? Kind of gets to do whatever he wants, doesn't really have to worry too much about ever being lethal to the Zac. In fact, you can also get some of your own opportunities if the Zac isn't careful, right? Because you can play at the range where Zac can't really land any of his W's on you, and if that's the case, then he's not actually able to pick up those blobs and heal. So we're going to have a pretty nice time in this lane, you would imagine. As we can see, both junglers have headed back to base and completed their initial resets. This is huge. Goodo having this double longsword really enables his early game fighting power, and that's something you really need to have on this Lee Sin. If you are unable to duel the enemy jungler, you are in a very poor position as a champion who doesn't really scale too well into the late game. But Invictus taking advantage of this little window here and stealing away a Raptor camp.
He certainly is. He's picked up the boots, got the Amp Tome as well, so a little bit of extra damage in terms of making sure that if he does go for a counter jungle, he's going to get away with one. Make sure he can try and match the mobility of that Lee Sin too. Checking him in the bot lane once again. You can sort of see the aftermath now as KNG push back towards Mammoth Tower. That Rilla is up by a substantial amount, already up by what, 17 CS?
Yeah, it's pretty big, and you can see Zilean is kind of a softer Rakan counter in the sense that when Rakan tanks a bomb, he's not actually able to use his shield because that would end up damaging the Xayah anyway. So he kind of just has to accept that he's going to get damaged. And the same goes for, you know, if Xayah gets a bomb on top of her. So whilst it's not the hardest counter in the game, certainly is a little mechanic that can just further snowball the amount of poke that they're taking in that 2v2.
Well, no jungle gank just yet. Invictus very much keen just to try and farm up an absolute storm right now, get to level 6 as quickly as he can, despite already having that ultimate ability from the very get-go. Wants to really outpace here the Lee Sin, but Gudo's opted for a different approach in things. Rather than go for a gank, he said, you know what, we'll pick up all 3 Void Grubs. We'll give ourselves a little bit of stronger laning phase. Now, Dajong has to play patiently here. He does have flash available, has just TP'd back, as his lane opponent does the same. But could have received a potential gank in the mid lane, which would have really ruined his tempo.
Yeah, fortunately for him, he is playing against that Udyr, right? Not the scariest champion to be going against, especially with the Orianna W, kind of just able to keep him at bay here. But you can see that even after the TP back from Rhea Fury, Dajong is continuing to look for these aggressive opportunities, up about a wave's worth of CS as he continues to use this command attack and command dissonance to really put the poke in. And you can see a nice heads-up play here from Invictus. He knows that Ashe's flash is just on cooldown. If there were any potential gank, he's here to cover.
He certainly is. We can see that Gudo is hovering in the area right now, just about to start his Gromp. So if a gank were to take place, both would be in the area to make sure it was a fair 3v3. But having got the push, Kira can go for a bit of a roam himself now, deploy some vision, make sure that this area of the map is protected, and that Invictus is free to rotate elsewhere. He's going to utilize that priority to go towards the Dragon as both Rhea Fury and the bot lane come to assist. But Gudo is looking. I doubt they're actually going to contest this one, given that both their mid and bot are stuck under a tower. It may just have to be that 1-for-1.
This is a really heads-up play from Kanga, though. They use just cryo in their lanes, right? That's all it is. Rhea Fury gets the push because he TP's back, has that HP advantage, and takes advantage of the window as he's going to Dajong here. Champion that Kanga can have and say, okay, we've already got all of these unique champions that we love to play in the jungle and in the support role. Here's another one.
It certainly is, yeah. As you say, 0 across the board. No bans, no games, nothing. So, yep, Kurek really doing a solid one to put us on the map. And no doubt we'll be hoping for some pretty spicy chrono shifts to make it find success. It sort of brings me back to, I want to say 2021, maybe even a year before that when we had Zilean mid, and it didn't really matter how your lane went. All you had to do is ultimate your AD carry, and that's exactly what he's going to be doing for this Ashe to protect him as they get aggressive in the bot lane again. And I say that, we get juked to mid lane, and somehow a solo kill's been found by Rhea Fury.
Yeah, the last time we saw mid lane, Dajong was hovering around pretty low HP in the middle of the lane. You can see it. Rhea Fury did use his flash, so I'm assuming it's something to do with a little flash scoop, but our camera is currently locked on this bot lane. Here's arrows on.
Oh no, he's face checking right into an Ashe ult. Flashed away from the double bomb. That's great observation there. Good reaction as well. Otherwise, like there being 2 lanes at the same time, all falling on down. That really is as simple as saying we've got ultimate advantage.
Yeah, luckily that is the best place to tank an Ashe arrow, right? Is literally right in front of it, so you don't get CC'd for any longer. But it really does speak to the aggression that is coming out of this Kanga bot lane. They're just willing to bush trap against the Zyra Khan and fish for something. As we can see, Gudo is fishing for something himself here, putting a ward onto the enemy red. So that early ward level 1 was what enabled that Raptor steal to come through. But let's take a look at mid lane once again. You can see Rhea Fury has the ultimate available, simply flashes, doesn't flash the shockwave actually, instead just does a banana combo with the ultimate there, but secures the kill nonetheless.
He does, yeah, cops the shockwave to the head and just says, well, my ultimate's stronger than yours, flash for good measure. And wins out on the 1v1. You certainly do love to see it. No excuses were required then for that interview. 20 FPS or not, he's managed to make it work in his favor. As, yeah, Gudo goes back to base for the 2nd time in a row, gets his shop up, but he's falling behind though, isn't he, compared to Invictus. So, jobs are on. It's time to, yeah, find your fight.
Yeah, he will get just outpaced purely because of how fast this Udyr does clear. You can see that after he takes his jungle camps on the bot side, he won't be too far behind. But that enables a large window of opportunity for Invictus to get towards these grubs and even them out of 3 apiece, right? This top lane will always be shoved in with this Aatrox, who has now built up a 25 CS lead over this Dak. So Invictus is incredibly free to just take these objectives and even those grubs. So those early objectives that Gudo got mean even less now that Invictus has secured those 3.
Certainly will be. It'll be a 3 apiece once the dust settles as we set ourselves up once again in the middle bush in bot lane. Waiting for a phase check and really deterring Asta from being too aggressive, right? Never given a chance to try and pull the trigger with that grand entrance or perhaps even looking to go for the quickness. But be able to try and push this one in. You can see that Gudo is hovering, has tried to sidestep the the tri-bush wall, goes in with a kick, flash to make it happen. Out comes that chrono shift, bring back Asta, or rather bring back Reela. He gets the flash, he cops the heal, he gets the movement speed, he turns it around, ult in ahead. There is the double bomb, not enough to stun. As he only chucked out one. And, well, nothing happens, just a few bruises.
That is the annoyance of the Zilean there. Not only does the ult come out to save Reela from that initial flash kick, but also it's the speed out of the revive that is able to actually secure it as a 0-for-0. At least in having to commit a flash and an ultimate. He's now down 20 CS. Once that play goes wrong, there's not really much. You're just losing on the other side of the map. So Lee Sin, yes, you know, you burn the Ashes Thumbs, but that Zilean ult is going to be back up again. That initial attempt failing is huge for Kanga.
It certainly is. And look, I mean, we take stock check, as you've mentioned before, right, of sort of the areas of the map in which Kanga are excelling. Definitely jungle and top. I say, a bit of a credit to Duck, though, who's down, what, 17 CS after that initial first blood. He's managed to bring it back in really convincing fashion. But they certainly do need some threats elsewhere. Already down 2,000 gold at 11 minutes. It's not a promising sign right now. And you're really thinking, okay, 30 seconds the next dragon. Will we be in a position to try and go for that?
Hopefully you should be able to do something about this dragon. You can see that the key ultimates are kind of coming back up. The quickness, the only one that might be a couple seconds behind the dragon. And with this combo that you have early game, I would be wanting to fight as much as possible, right? You have this ball delivery system in both the Rakan and the Lee Sin, on top of an Orianna who's sitting in a decent spot now with the Lost Chapter and 2 amplifying tomes. If that finds a carry, you should be able to blow them up. And really against the Zilean, that's what you need to do. You need to 100-0 them before that chrono shift can come out, or else it's just going to be the scenario we saw again. But Shockwave finds Rhea Fury.
Really nice Shockwave. There's the slow as well. And the Empress Device just too little too late. The team members locked in, ready to find their punch. And they've answered back in the mid lane. We look at top as well now, as Next still has the passive as the Zac, but his HP is looking a little bit worse for Red right now. Out comes the World Ender, looking to try and take that 1v1. He's bouncing around, landing on the blobs, getting his HP back, and looking to try and say which of us has more sustain. Ultimately, I think Wooden should win this one. As the blobs go out, the passive is there, and he just gets to take his time with things. Actually, no, the TP there to deny it. Nectar's back in, leaps underneath the tower, cops the shock, and the command attack just not enough to try and get the kill.
Oh, it looked dicey there. The TP having to be used from Dajong to make sure that Nectar doesn't go down, but he might be found out by Invictus.
So he may be. He's going to be in a lot of trouble right now. Invictus can take his time with this one. He will just get run down. Dajong has nothing left in the tank. He literally just burnt Flash top lane. So what looked like them being aggressive gets completely turned on its head.
Yeah, it's getting turned on its head in bot lane as well. Duck!
It's just too little too late. Duck finally gets at the Feather Storm as he cops every bit of CC that this bot lane and Kanga have.
Kick.
And they turn it around and say, you will get punished. Kurak flashing forward for one extra bomb. He cops the shield from Rakan. It's just enough. The TP is there. All they can get is the Zilean. And I tell you what, from top to bot, it all just happened in a minute.
Yeah, it starts with Dajong getting caught in the river there. He misses a lot in the mid lane as a result of that fact. And on the bot side, Mammoth are trying to make a play to take advantage of this no summoner Ashe. You can see a very nice kick from Gudo to secure that initial kill. And then both top laners rock up, they say hi and they say, hey, you know, we've already committed TPs, we may as well stay here. But we can take a look at the initial play again. You can see Kanga realize that Asta has gone up to use this bush and take some wards. They use that opportunity to capitalize onto Duck, who's chunked very low, but then it's this nasty kick from Gudo that forces the chrono shift on towards the Ashe, making it so the Kurak will go down. And then both of these TPs wanting these top laners to be sure that no one is going to be fighting without them.
So much happening in such a short window of time really does mean that the next fight for this objective here should be one where both are feeling a little bit worse for wear, a little bit impaired. Dajong is dead. He's come back onto our screen and fallen down for the third time in this game. Not a situation he'll be too happy with. And Kanga no doubt will be feeling like this is the place to be right now. 15 minutes in. They can look to try and siege and take their first tower in the mid lane, but now they've got a Herald too.
Yeah, they absolutely do have the Herald as well to unlock even more on the map than they already have. And quietly, this Aatrox has built up a huge CS lead, up 45 CS compared to the Zac after everything is all said and done. So a very nice position for Woodon to be in. With this Profane Hydra completed, he's going to have an absolute field day against the likes of this immobile Orianna in team fights. So you can see a nice little sequence from Mammoth to try to kick things off in the bot lane, but just because of that huge mistake in the top lane, they do end up down gold as a result.
They certainly do, and it's not too often you see a jungler at the top of the table for the most gold in the entire game, but Invictus is that guy right now. 2-0, 350, bounty on his head. He's already rushed the little Leandries, so he's going to be burning people down in an AoE fashion, and with the Darksteel too, I mean, this guy is looking to snowball. He's looking to protect that KDA.
Oh yeah, he's definitely a damage threat on his own right. You can see that if he gets left alone with any of these carries, he will burn them down, and the thing about an Udyr into a champion like Xayah is at this stage, what are you actually ulting, right? He's just going to have the same amount of damage that he does before and after that ult, so there's no real effective use that Duck can use besides just to get those feathers. You can see Mammoth so desperately trying to control vision. They have sequestered quite a nice little pocket of vision for themselves towards this bot side, but this turret is very low, and Kanga, they smell that tower blood in the air.
They certainly do, and they know that they can put the pressure on, and the Mammoth would be fairly greedy if they were trying to defend this one with their life. Certainly when it's looking like a 4v3, as everybody from Kanga looks to try and flash into the mid lane. A 1v1 looking to take place here between both the mid laners. There's a fantastic flash goes out. Well, the Azir certainly would have been a bit of a sitting duck, but Asta left to his own devices now, realizing that this tower only takes a couple of auto attacks to fall on down, and it is gone.
Or is it? As Gudo has looked in a little bit, he's dancing around, dodges the Ash Arrow.
He's baited a few skills, hasn't he? He certainly has put the pressure on Kanga to see, okay, well, are you going to make anything happen of this? But then from their sense, Kanga like, well, we can just play the macro game because you've all in, responding to what we're doing, maybe dialed in a little bit too much in predicting this tower that has, what, 50 HP left.
Yeah, and that's the thing. With the side lane pressure that they have, they will always have first move. It's just a matter of patience, right? You've got to wait for those waves to eventually crash. Then you can bring your side laners down or up and take the tower in due time. But you can see that Reaper is looking very aggressive here, Skimmy. He's got no flash, and Gudo's here.
Gudo is certainly here, looking to try and turn it around and make sure that Reaper loses out on this occasion. Out goes the kick. There is the Sonic Wave. There is the shove as well. But Gudo patiently waits and says, that won't block me. He gets his first of the game with the Thunder Sky. He certainly packs a punch.
Yeah, he certainly packs a punch. We'll be able to find that kill in the top lane. That's huge, right? You can see that's going to break open this side of the map. Meanwhile, Kanga on the bot lane looking to control this dragon. But simply just a misstep from Reafury, right? He knew his team was wanting to play towards the mid-bot half of the map. He knew he had no flash. Simply tried to limit test and bit off a bit more than he could chew. Ends up going down as a result.
Certainly does. And now becomes a bit of a race from top to bot as to who can push harder. I think the answer should be the Herald will win 9 times out of 10. He just summons it straight away and says, well, there's a dragon as well. So we're always that one step ahead of you. You're always lagging behind, having to respond to our play, our calls, our strategy.
Yeah, and as a result of that, they will lose this second dragon. Chemtech Drag, actually not a terrible dragon. There's not too much tenacity value to be gained from it this game. However, working towards that soul certainly is a decently potent dragon to have. And you can see that Rilla right now feeling very comfortable on this Ashe as he sits in the mid lane. With a Zillion to protect you as an Ashe, you just feel so empowered, right? You feel very happy going up, getting some auto attacks on towards this Xayah, and feeling confident that you can simply outrun a Rakan W. So with the pressure that they already have around this mid lane, is Reafury caught again.
He certainly has been caught again. And this time, he's managed to hit the Emperor's Divide to get himself out of harm's way. Got to flashing on his head. You've got no tower to protect you this time, and you will just fall on down. This mid-jungle have had a target, and that has always been take out this Azir.
Once again, they find Reafury. However, this time they do have to commit double flashes and double ultis. So if I'm Reafury, I'm feeling like that's not the worst death in the world, right? Yes, obviously it sucks to have another one on the scoreboard. However, with Baron spawning in 40 seconds, this is a jungler and a mid laner with no flash now, right? They are so much more vulnerable to something like an Ash Arrow, to something simply just like a Udyr running them down, that now it's actually quite hard for this Orianna to navigate these side lanes safely. So, to be honest, it's a kill that you don't actually feel that bad about.
No, it's a freebie. You'll take it. You'll be happy with it. What really matters is what happens when a team fight breaks up, because will you need that as a result? Asta's hit the quickness. He's looking for a target. He's used a teammate as a bit of a taxi to try and find it. And Kanga just simply walk away. The state, we don't have the numbers. We're winning in side lanes. We don't need to entertain what you're trying to do. It's a bit of desperation.
That's the thing, and they're going to keep getting more desperate, right? They know that they get outscaled this game. They know that they have this Zilean and Ashe and Azir late game to contend with. However, it's simply too hard to find picks onto the Kanga bot lane, right? With all the mobility they have, not even to mention the numerous ways that they can check these bushes from afar. You've got a Zilean bomb, you've got an Ashe W, you've got an Ashe E. All of these things can potentially negate any bush trap that Mammoth are wanting to set. So the engages that they're going to need to set are going to be these really far ones, or they can find an Aatrox in a side lane.
Well, essentially, yeah, you're just kind of banking on the greed that your opposition present. Out goes the dash, there is the shockwave, there's the 1v3. TP coming in from Rifu,
oh, no,
to back up his teammate. But Woodon's gone, and despite them having a 4v2 now, it is still Mammoth that aren't looking too convincing. Rifu's walked himself into the alcove, and that's not where you want to be, mate. But he's going to take them all on and fall victim to his third successive death up here on top.
Fury pays the price for his top laner's greed there, going down for the 4th time. But once again, Wudon manages to navigate himself out of a very sticky situation. You can see that, crucially, it's the Lee Sin Sonic Wave that misses after the Dragon's Rage comes through, meaning that there's no damage combo to actually CC kill him down to 100% HP. So you can see that now on the other side of the map, Kanga feeling very willing to trade, take away that blue buff, and get this Udyr, who's already far ahead, even further in control.
He's terrifying. I mean, we already talked about the Leandries, now with the Frozen Heart too. You're crying. You really are crying as Duck, thinking, what do I do to try and beat this champion? Because as you say, you can jump up into the sky, but does that really matter? A one-man quickness, make it 2 as Invictus rocks up and gets charmed by Asta's very mobile champion. But even then, they're teasing, they're showing what they can do, but it's never that, that killer conviction.
You get the Zilean flash, and I think you're happy with that at this stage, right? Having that champion without the ability to quickly escape something like a Rakan or a Zac engage is definitely a win, because that means that he's going to be so much more focused on himself with that ultimate, always in the back of his mind as to whether he needs to use that for himself. As Gudo might have found Rilla, he has kick.
Nice Featherstorm, really well done. Completely buffers the Ashe ult, and he wins out on that occasion. That could be a big turning point in this game. You've taken down the Ashe, you've removed a few of their vision tools. Maybe get a chance to go back to base now with 2-item spike here for Gudo. He's certainly no weak champion. And Baron there, is it a bait or is this your desperation to try and flip it around?
It feels hard, but Kurak will just be killed, Skimmy, and now Baron becomes even more enticing. But it looks like Mammoth are opting instead to take a reset, to head towards this dragon with the buys from the gold that they just got. Wudon getting very confident here. The Sonic Wave doesn't land, and yeah, it's just a simple missed play from Rilla, really. He takes advantage of the time that he thinks Mammoth are on the bot side of the map to catch a wave under turret, but instead he is the one who's collapsed upon. That's a big shutdown. Yes, it goes over to the Lee Sin, but now this is a jungler who's very strong, right? If he gets onto the carries, he can actually just solo kill them himself within, 1.5 rotations. So Gudo on this Lee Sin is making things happen.
Certainly is. A champion that he's got a fair bit of experience on, and arguably I'd say just be the strongest point for the Lee Sin, especially in the context of where this game is at right now. He managed to do a phenomenal job of catching up that gold lead. CS laning-wise, certainly wasn't the strongest point. They're managing to take on the fact that Kanga want to sit to these side lanes. They want to try and scale on up. It does mean they draw a lot of attention towards themselves. In with the 1v3 again. They missed it last time. Can they beat it this time? There's no TP to try and back him up. It's not a 1v3. Make it 4 as they all come to take this Aatrox down. And he'll be down now for 45 seconds.
And there we go. It's finally a kill onto Duck. Finally, they actually collapse and successfully find a member in the side lane. But you can see here, Rilla could have been found.
He certainly could have been found.
That's a big chunk.
Oh my. He gets the phase check. He's gone. Rilla can only really look to try and DPS from afar right now, but he needs to get in their face with the Kraken Slayer and that Trinity Force. The Baron's been engaged. Everybody from Mammoth is here right now. It will be that flip that takes place. Rilla flashing out of the Zac engage. He knocks him up, hits the passive, looks to Kurak, who stealth-casts the ultimate, but it won't get popped yet. In goes Gudo, sacrificing himself for the play. It was Ashe they got jumped on, but he's space sliding around this team fight, already taking down 2. Make it 3. He gets 4. He gets an ace. Rilla, you're crazy.
He tanks a shockwave to the face to start that whole fight and ends up getting a quadra kill. This man simply will not go down. You can see Mammoth, they turn off the Baron. They want to use that Zac to get on top of him, but Rilla just will not die. He spaces perfectly, using this low HP Zilean as a bait. Let's take a look at this once again. You can see the initial engage from Nectar on towards Rilla gets flashed away, and then they're baited by all these other low HP bars. You can see Kurak so low, but there's just too much damage from this Ashe. You can see he's running, no one's firing onto him, and he just simply outspaces the rest of Mammoth.
Unbelievable there to have the confidence and the ability and not be punished. You've burnt Flash, you've burnt Ultimate, you've burnt all your health, and you've just shown them this is what an Ashe can do. There is the third item, there is the Baron being denied, there is the Baron being claimed. And KNG, if you were worried for a second that they may be throwing this game at the 25-minute mark, they've fully re-established themselves as the one in the lead.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier about breakpoints. This is the breakpoint now. You can see third item completed for Ashe. Now has the Terminus as well. So Armor Shred as well as a bit of tankiness, and they're not doing anything to this Udyr. We all know he's going to walk out fine, but Nectar's going in.
He is going in into the Tri-Brush, brings them both together. He's found one. There's the Zillion ult to try and bring them back to life and give them a second fighting chance. Kurak flashing away, but he's dead during the animation. And that's all Mammoth can settle for. They try and try and try again. And it's slim pickings.
Invictus will go again here. He's incredibly tanky. Takes a while to kill.
1v5. How long does it take to kill the Udyr? He's burning them all with that Leandris. He's still alive! Don't tell me he lives!
And this is why this champion is banned.
No
because
way.
he is just immortal in the middle of 5. And meanwhile, all this is happening. Wudon has been the benefactor, taking turret after turret, taking wave after wave. And now this Aatrox, who hasn't been involved in any kills, is incredibly strong, working his way towards that Cyrilda's grudges. Tango taking an interesting approach to this Baron, right? They've almost just left mid-waves completely alone besides Aatrox. Instead opting to really play around this bot lane and wanting to make this quadrant their kind of dominant one of the map. Both carries down here looking at this tier 2 turret that remains.
There is just no way though, Max. Riddle me this. Your Zillion's just died. It's a 3v5 bot lane. Your Udyr runs in and tanks them all and lives, and an Aatrox is freely split pushing top. You're thinking, is this a simulation? Is this competitive League of Legends? How is that being able to happen? Ultimately, KNG are just laughing straight to the bank. It's almost like a hole breaker Aatrox without the item there.
Yeah, Aatrox is having a very nice time of things here. As you can see, KNG's set up in this bot lane. They do have that Baron cannon minion which has just been killed, but on this next wave, they should be able to break this turret, and that's really the last kind of easy standing gold that they have remaining, right? They've taken the other 2 tier 2s so far, and after this one, they will be looking at those inhibited turrets. The Ashe Arrow finds Dajong.
He does find Dajong, but it's when he follows up. No, because he turns around. The massive shockwave onto 2. And just like that, the cavalry rocks up. In goes Gudo. There is Nectar. There's 2. As they try to find more. Gudo spikes up in that one. Flash kick, because he's acting like he's insect. They're really turning this game up. The temperature, it is rising as they're down 7,000 gold. But you wouldn't think so based on that execution.
That's huge. KNG get overconfident for 1 second and Mammoth pull the trigger. A massive shockwave combined with a nasty engage from Rakan and Zac over the top of it. And to put the icing on the cake, really, a fantastic Lee Sin kick and skimmy. There's 15 seconds to drag. They're going to deny the soul as well.
They have to. They absolutely have to. It all starts off with a nice arrow on towards Dajong, but he just turns it around and says, you've got an ult, I have one too.
Yeah, and his one is so much better. You can see Kurak is caught between using the ult on himself and Rilla. Both of them end up dying, and this nasty kick again. You can make a highlight reel just from this game of Gudo landing important kicks, but this one is huge, right? It puts Rhea Fury on a death timer. If he got away, there's always a universe in which he can TP back and actually contest this dragon, potentially steal the soul point for KNG. But now they've bought themselves 5 more minutes in this game, 5 more minutes to find another fight like that, and potentially turn the game on its head.
So they do, but it's been an uphill battle. It has been from, to be fair, minute 1 in this game, having first blood on your AD carry into just trying to pick apart people split pushing. And even being contested by this Udyr, who really is that stone wall, frozen heart, force of nature. I mean, you just cannot get past him. But I will say, there is that shining light. The reintroduction of Dajong, he's the only member in the top 3 right now for overall gold. And he's going to have to continue to get as strong as he can, because these shockwaves are starting to add up.
The shockwaves are huge right now. You can see that even one of them is basically going to kill the bot lane of Kanga if it lands. And you do have a lot of good ball delivery systems, right? There are so many angles that your teammates can come from with the engages with the ball on top of them to be able to land these really massive shockwaves onto the enemy backline. And I think that, you know, despite the gold lead and despite the control that Kanga have, if any of those fights go the way that they did in that previous sequence, it will just be a one fight for Mammoth, right? You can only Zillion ult one person, which doesn't help if your whole team is getting exploded by an Orianna and a Zyra at the same time. So Mammoth, they've done well. They've slowed down the game. All eyes are on this Baron spawning 50 seconds though.
It certainly is. You talk about a Dragon Soul, well, that one's still going to be a while away as we turn our attention towards that Baron. I'm really curious to see the setup from both teams. You know that Mammoth are going to be grouped up as 5 and all inning at any cost, no matter if they're losing towers in the side lanes. But does that mean now we might actually have the grouping of both Woodon and Reef Fury? As you see, only one death. He's not grouped up with the team at all. The most farm in the entire game. As for Reef Fury, 1 and 5 on the Zizir. Yes, a scaling terror, but he's not been on his A game in game 1.
No, he definitely hasn't been caught out quite a few times at unfortunate sequences in the side lane. You can see just the vision game is so intense between these two teams, right? You can see that with both teams having the way to start, the easy way to start fights that they do, if one person missteps, it can be a death, it can be a Baron. So both teams taking their time, making sure that all the wards will go. And Skimmy, it's a 5v5 on the mid lane. Arrow lands.
Yes, but he does land a 2-man knock-up afterwards. Dodging the focus. Can he kill him before the shockwave comes out? He turns it around. They get 2. They've found the shutdowns. There is the Azir wall. There is Nectar surviving. And most importantly, retaining his passive. They've done their damage. They've lost no one in the process.
They've lost no one, but the health bars are pretty low here on the carries. Nectar will be able to heal up onto this Baron, but all the carries of Kanga are left alive, and there is still a Zillion ult to go with that.
Look at Godo's
I wouldn't be surprised if Kanga do look for something here.
He just missed it. He tried to sneak it, but he realizes the Baron's getting lower and lower. He has to go in for that smite. He gets one. They walk away. And now can they actually fight themselves out of this situation? Because there is the passive for Nectar. Can he leap to safety? He can. The Ash ult still too far. The shielding, it may just be enough as Refu tries to DPS them across the wall. He's found one. That's Kurak. The triple stun. Are you kidding me, Kurak? The scaling of Zillion, unbelievable. A hero's effort. As Refu, I'm sorry for saying you played poorly. There is the triple. There is the Ash ult to get the ace.
It's a 3v5, but they do enough work for an army, and Skimmy, they've got a wave. The TP's coming in. They might be looking for the end.
I can't believe this game. This has been an absolute banger for game 1 of the series. I tell you what, if this was on LAN right now, the crowd would be going ballistic. No doubt about it. Here we go. Grouping up for the end. Woodon with the most PvE-centric style of gameplay you'll ever see, finishing this one 0-2. But at 33 minutes in, with 28 kills apiece, we get this one done, and Kanga on the front foot take game 1.
I simply cannot believe that game from